Hi Year 3, welcome to your maths video for Monday the 22nd of June. So today we're all going to be looking at equivalent fractions. So Miss Charlesworth spoke about equivalent fractions last lesson, so let's have a quick recap. So the word equivalent, we know it means equal. It's a funny word, but it means equal. And equal means it's worth the same amount. So you looked at these fractions here. I've got a half, so I've got half of my circle shaded in. 2 quarters, so 2 out of my 4 parts are shaded in. 4 eighths, where I've got 8 parts with 4 shaded in. And if we have a look at them, and if we take away the lines that are splitting up my circles, you can see that a half is the same as 2 quarters and 4 eighths. So let's have a look at your activities for today. So starting off on some mild level activities, you have got some pictures that have been split into fractions, and they've either got missing numerators, denominators, or both. And we're looking at the fractions that are equal to each other. So here I've got 1, 2, 3 parts, and my denominator tells me how many equal parts I have, and I've got 1 equal part, so I've got a third there. And it's saying a third is equivalent to, it's the same as, I've got 6 equal parts, and 2 shaded in, 2 sixths. And you can see there, if I took this line away, they're worth the same. It's the same amount that's been shaded in, okay? This one, 3 equal parts. How many parts have been shaded in for my numerator? Oh, 1, 2. 2 thirds. Here, I've got 6 equal parts all the way around. How many parts have I got for my numerator? 1, 2, 3, 4. So it's telling me then that 2 thirds is equivalent to, it's the same as 4 sixths. And if you take these lines away again, you can see it covers the same amount of that shape. Right, another one you might have then, we don't have the fraction here at all, so you need to work out the fraction. So how many equal parts has my circle been split into? 1, 2, 3, 4. So I've got 4 equal parts, my denominator, but how many equal parts do I have? 1, 2, 3 equal parts. So this is going to be equivalent to, and you can actually see it if you look, it's covering the same amount of the circle. Let's see what fraction it's equivalent to. So how many parts do we have? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. So my circle's been split into 8 equal parts, and we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 of those. So it's telling me that 3 quarters is equivalent to 6 eighths. It's the same value. Right, let's have a look at another activity. You might have one that looks like this, asking you to complete the statement to match the image. So here, we've got a fraction with a numerator missing. It's got 3 equal parts, so it must be the top one. 1, 2, 3. How many of those equal parts do we have? We've got 1, so we've got a third. And it's telling me a third is the same as, I've got 6 equal parts there, and 2 of them are shaded in. And if you have a look, I've got that line there, you can see it's the same amount of that shape that has been shaded in. Even though it's got a different denominator and a different numerator, they are worth the same amount. On my bottom one, I've got 12 equal parts here, and I've got 1, 2, 3, 4 of those. Now if you have a look at my denominators, I've got a bit of a pattern here. If I double 3, I get 6, and if I double 6, I get 12. So maybe have a think about what would be the next fraction in my sequence, the next equivalent fraction. So let's have a look at some medium and hot questions. So it's asking you to shade the shapes to help you find equivalent fractions. So I've got a fraction here, it's a bit split up. So the fraction it's asking me to shade first is 2 tenths. Now I know it's going to be this one because this circle has been split into 10 equal parts. So I'm going to shade 1, 2. Right, and then it's saying 2 tenths is equivalent to, it's equal to. Now I've got a shape here that's been split into 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 parts. And this is where we need to visualise, it means we need to look carefully. So if I have a look at this section here that I've shaded in, I've got to make sure it's the same on this shape here. So I can see that that's the same amount. So 2/10 is the same as 1/5. So I've got 5 equal parts and 1 part I've shaded in. If you imagine I take that line away, they now look exactly the same. Just that line was splitting up the section. Let's have a look at this one then. So this one's telling me I've got 1/3. So I've got 3 parts here. I need to shade in 1/3. Now if we visualise again and look carefully, I've got 3 parts there. I can almost see that there's that first section I've got. Here's that second section. And then there's my last one. So if I'm shading in 1/3 here, that's just the first section. So if I shade all of this in to match it, so we know it's got to be the same, it's got to be equivalent. Oh, what have I shaded in now? If I get rid of these lines, how many parts have I shaded in? So I started off with 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 equal parts, my denominator, and I have shaded in 1, 2. So 1/3 is the same as 2/6. Right, another activity then. You have got what we call an equivalent fraction wall, and we can use these to help us find equivalent fractions. So if I just have a look here, I've got halves. I've split that shape into 2, because my denominator tells me I want 2 parts. I've got thirds, 1, 2, 3, quarters, split into 4 parts, and so on. And you've got some sentences to finish off where you either need to write that a fraction is equivalent or is not equivalent. So is the same or not the same. So if I use my fraction wall, it's saying a half equivalent to 2 quarters. So I'm going to find a half. Oh, there's my half. So I'm going to use this line on my fraction wall. I'm going to follow it down to the quarters where it's been split into 4 equal parts. So I'll follow that line down. Oh, I'll go there. And if we have a look, if that's the whole box of the half, if it's equivalent, the 2 quarters has to be the same size. And if we follow that line down, oh, there's 1 quarter. Oh, there's another quarter. We know 1 quarter add 1 quarter is 2 quarters. So I'm going to write it is equivalent. It is worth the same. Okay? Let's have a look at another one. 3/6 is equivalent to 6/12. So I'm going to find the 6 first, where I've got 6 equal parts. Oh, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. And I can tell because my denominator is 6. Now I want 3 of those. So that line in the middle, there's my 3/6. I've got 1, 6, 2, 6, 3, 6. And it's saying it's equivalent to 6/12. So I need to go down to the 12ths. Oh, there's the 12ths, look. So if this is true, I should have 6/12 in this box. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So it is equivalent to 6/12. Let's have another look. Now some of them you may find are or are not. So you need to be careful whether you're writing it is equivalent or it is not. The next one, 2/3. I'm going to look for the thirds. Oh, right, so there's 2/3, 1/3, 2/3. And it's saying, is it equivalent to 3/5? So I need to go down to the fifths. Oh, I found them. If I work from that end, so I've got to start at the same end. 1/5, 2/5, 3/5. Ooh, now if I get my ruler out, are they worth the same, look? Which one's bigger? You can see there, 2/3 are bigger than 1/5, so they're not equivalent, they're not worth the same amount. So I'm going to write 2/3 is not equivalent to 3/5. Okay? So moving on, you have another question with a fraction wall, where this time we've got equivalent fractions ready, but they're either missing a numerator or a denominator. So 6/8. So we know to go and find the 8s on our fraction wall. Oh, there's the 8s, and I want 6 of them. So we're going to start from the end. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So I've got them lined up. Is equivalent to, oh, my denominator is quarters. So I'm going to go up to the quarters from this line. Oh, and if I highlight all of those, I can see that 6/8 is equivalent to 1, 2, 3 quarters. I'm going to write 3 quarters in there. Last one then. So I've got 2/3, so I'm going to find 2/3. I'm just going to see if I can rub that off. Oh, no, that was better. 2/3. So there's the third. I want 1, 2 of them, and I've started from the end. Is equivalent to 8 something. So I don't know the denominator, but I can look on my fraction wall for how many 8s fit into 2/3. So if I draw my line down here, so that's cutting right through the middle of the 8s, so it can't be the 8s. I've only got 1, 2, 3, 4, 6. I need 8, 6, so that wouldn't work. Oh, that's cutting through the middle of the 10th, so that won't work. Oh, but if I look at the 12s, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. So it must be 12ths. So take your time, look at the fraction wall and draw on it if it will help you in a different colour pen. Good luck.